first things first, for those who don't know, I'm Karen Dion, and I'm the author of the best-selling Marsh King's Daughter. It's psychological suspense set in Michigan's Upper Peninsula wilderness. That was my breakout book after about 20 years of writing other things. So that's how it happens sometimes in the writing world. The Marsh King's Daughter has been published in 27 languages, and it's soon to be a major motion picture. We're just waiting on the release date. The movie's finished, and if you see this grin, you know how I'm anticipating it. So, it's been a really exciting ride. And I like to think that, my experience is encouraging for other aspiring writers who haven't yet reached, the goals that they've set for themselves. It can happen anytime. So that's me. And now for our guests, I'm going to do this alphabetically. Brett Battles. Say hi, Brett.
Hi, Brett.
So Brett's official bio says he's the USA Today bestselling and Barry Award-winning author of over 45 novels. But as of today, he's also a New York Times bestselling author. So massive congrats on that. That is just like super exciting. You can hold up your book.
Yeah, it's all because of my name on this book that I'm on the list. It has nothing to do with Stuart Woods at all. But
no, nothing at all.
I will take it. Yes. I'll ride those coattails.
We never could have done it without you, Brett. So Brett has written over 45 novels. And what I think is really cool is he's been nominated for the Barry Award 3 times, which if you're familiar with mysteries and thrillers, that's a big deal. And he also won the Thriller Award for Best Novel in 2009, which, again, as far as awards are concerned in the thriller community, that's the top. So, super congrats on that. Brett is dialing in from California. So, and you're having fine weather tonight, no storm?
It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful Southern California day.
Very good. So you'll be around all evening. No glitches from you.
Yeah.
And then we have Claire. I forgot to ask you, how do you pronounce your last name? Will you say it for us, please?
Oh, of course. No worries. Jiminez.
Jiminez. I should know that.
Got it perfect.
Okay, Claire. She's a Puerto Rican writer who grew up in Brooklyn and Staten Island. She has a short story collection called Staten Island Stories, which received an award for the best first book from the New York Society Library. And it was named a finalist for the International Latino Book Awards, which is fantastic, and other awards. You're currently an assistant professor of English and African American Studies at the University of South Carolina. Does that mean you live in South Carolina too then?
That's right. I'm in Blythewood right now.
All right. And again, no storms, nice weather, right?
Yeah, so far though, I'm hearing that this later on it's going to be a little bit nasty, but we're good for now.
All right. And so the book that Claire will be sharing with you tonight in the breakout rooms, What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez, which came out March 7. It's her debut novel. So, we go from a New York Times best-selling author to debut author, which is just awesome. I mean, everybody starts somewhere, right? And we're very honored to have you come with us and join us tonight.
Congratulations.
Yeah, super. And then we have internationally best-selling Alex Marwood. She spent a decade in journalism before jumping over the wall to write novels. Her first, The Wicked Girls, won an Edgar for Best Paperback Original, and her follow-up, The Killer Next Door, won the Macavity Award for Best Mystery in its year. So again, these are really outstanding awards. When you can hit it out of the park just like that, that's so amazing. And I have to include this Stephen King quote. Stephen King, of The Darkest Secret, he wrote, "If there's a better mystery suspense story in the past decade, I can't think of it." Did you just die when you got that quote?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What can I say? He's just been completely amazing to me, Stephen King, and I owe him everything. And actually, it's a bit like getting a thumbs up from God, isn't it?
Yeah, I hear you there. That's so cool. So Alex's latest novel, The Island of Lost Girls, just came out on June 13. And that's going to be a common thread because Matthew Quirk's novel came out on June 13. And I forgot to say that Brett's came out June 6. So these are all like really recent books and books that should definitely be on everyone's radar. Matthew Quirk is a New York Times bestselling novelist and journalist who is best known for his book, The Night Agent. It's a political conspiracy thriller, which was adapted to a Netflix TV show by Sean Ryan. And we were talking about the show a little bit in the breakout room, and it sounds so fascinating, you know, his experience with having his book turned into a television show. So again, in the breakout rooms, you guys can ask him a little bit more about that. Prior to becoming a novelist, he studied history and literature at Harvard College. After graduation, he spent 5 years at the Atlantic reporting on crime, private military contractors, terrorism prosecutions, and international gangs. Sounds like you used a bit of that when it comes to writing your novels.
It comes in handy, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's so awesome. His newest thriller is Inside Threat, which is about in which an attack on the White House sends the president and his top aides to take shelter in a top secret government facility underground, but they soon discover the threat is locked inside with them. Doesn't that sound awesome? So again, you know, Matt will tell you more about that in the breakout rooms. What we're going to do now is play a quick little game of not quite 20 questions. And the reason we like to do this is because it gives you a chance to get to know the authors a little bit in kind of a fun and relaxed way. So we've got official cards, see? And they say, you know, backroom cards, and they've got questions on the other side. So here we go. And I'm going to ask the questions in the order that I see you on the screen. So Brett, you're first. You get the hardest question of all. Is your desk messy or tidy?
Normally messy. At the moment it's tidy, and just because I cleaned it this morning for the first time in like a year. So yeah.
That's a great feeling when that happens, isn't it?
It is, but I know it won't stay that way for long. It's just my mind doesn't work that way.
That's what I was just going to ask. How long will it stay tidy? Not long.
A week, maybe 2, if I'm lucky.
Yeah. Okay. And Claire, where do you write?
I aspire to write at my very messy desk, but end up writing on my couch because I have a 1-year-old, and so I have to write where I can. So the couch often is the place where that happens.
Did I hear that correctly? You have a 1-year-old? Oh,
Yes,
my
I do.
goodness.
He might even yelp a little bit at one point during this.
Well, you have to hold him up if he's awake. We have to see him at some point.
Oh, he's a terror. He's my worst critic. No, he has to stay down.
I so admire anybody that can write with little kids. I never had to do
Right.
that, and yeah, it's crazy. So Alex, your screen says Serena, just so people know that you don't have to change it, but this is Alex Marwood here for those who aren't familiar. Like a lot of writers, she has 2 names, and I actually know her personally as Serena, so it's kind of cool. We did a book event together in
It was so much fun. Yes, when
yes.
the Marsh King's Daughter first came out in Hampstead.
I know.
Um,
So that's how the writing world becomes, you know, we have all these overlapping things. It's so cool. So we're going to go back to possibly your childhood. What was the title of the first thing you ever wrote?
oh God.
Oh, make something up. Come on, you're a fiction
Yeah,
writer.
absolutely. Well, I don't know if it actually had a title. It was about a snail being eaten by a thrush.
Okay, that sounds
That's the
appropriate.
first, you know, so we'll call it this when the snail was eaten by the thrush.
All right. Isn't it so interesting? We've asked this question of others, and sometimes, you know, the author's dark side showed up pretty early. So
Oh, absolutely. Yes. No, I was all about the dark side right from the start.
yeah, that's very cool. Thanks. And Matthew, what's the first thing you do when you get an idea for a book?
I mean, well, it's kind of boring. I like make a voice note and write it down, and then usually I just let them percolate, and that involves a lot of walking around the neighborhood. I'm fortunate to live in this beautiful place, so I'll walk near like Sunset Cliffs here in San Diego, and then you know, I found kind of the hard way. You can't really like schematically figure out an idea, so there's a lot of like walking and ruminating. Might even look like goofing off, you know, or laying on the sofa. But that's usually how I let them develop. And then it's one of my favorite tips, because I tell folks to not sit at the computer, kind of like moving words around, but to, take a walk and let your brain figure it all out at that misto level that like you couldn't possibly recreate by, conscious action.
I find naps very useful as well.
Yes.
Naps are
And a
great.
shower will do wonders on an idea.
Number one.
Yeah, forget
Yeah,
that.
I'm
paper,
working,
forget
honey.
that
I'm
computer.
working. I know this is like, we have an 18-month-old and congratulations, Claire. Yeah. So like, if it's a work nap, I just need it.
Okay, that's a new term. We'll have to put a work nap. So those are great answers. I really appreciate, you guys telling us your deepest, darkest secrets that we can talk about more in the breakout room. But right now, before we do that, we've asked each author to tell you briefly about a book that they read recently and loved. So we'll start with you, Brett. What book are you recommending that everyone?
I'm recommending City Under One Roof by Iris Yamashita. And it's basically a locked room mystery, except the locked room is a small town cut off from the rest of Alaska because of a storm. And the small town basically lives in one building. Everyone has an apartment in the same building. So it's very good. Very good. She's very nice. So you'll enjoy that.
Thank you. Glad to hear that. Claire, what book are you recommending tonight?
So mine is Carmen and Grace by an author named Melissa Cosequino, who is she's been writing for a while, but this is her debut novel. It's so funny, like people who you write for like 10 years and then it's like, oh, I'm a new, you've been doing it for a minute. It has a little bit of everything. It has some drama and it also has a little bit of mystery in it. And it's literary, so it has a lot of everything going on. But I really appreciate this author and I really enjoyed this book.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. And Alex, what book are you recommending?
I actually really wanted to big up though a book of hers that I gave away, of course, which is a book called The Family Upstairs, which is the most fantastic dark Barbara Vine-ish psychological thriller. I love everything Lisa does. This is her most recent one, and this is also, I would say, as good. But The Family Upstairs just blew my socks off.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And Matt, what book are you recommending tonight?
Well, mine I did in audio, so this is kind of lame, but
that's great.
True Grit by Charles Portis, and this was fun because it's read by Donna Tartt, who I know from the sophisticated, worldly New York and Ivy League kind of things, and she has this like amazing Southern accent, and read this like gritty Western with all these like these salty characters. So it's just, she's great at reading it. And the book, if you haven't read it, it has like one of the best voices because it's narrated by a 14-year-old, like really tough young woman named Maddie Ross. And she is really tough and she's sophisticated, but she thinks she's a little more sophisticated than she is. So there's like a nice kind of gap between the narrator and what and it's just, it's a really fun kind of slice of America book. And I did the audio book because I do a lot now because there's a lot of chores happening around here. So
I do all audio. I don't read anything physical anymore, actually.
Yeah. It's it's hard to find the time. So yeah, it's just a fun book, and I never read it. So this was a fun way for it to kind of pop back up on my radar.
Wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed this taste of what a backroom event is like. The best part comes immediately after, when the audience is divided into 4 breakout rooms and the authors visit each room in turn. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like, because these relaxed face-to-face conversations between authors and readers are the hallmark of our backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded. What's said in the backroom stays in the backroom.